Hello, Frizzle Formation! Why do not all people enjoy the same books? Why is it that when I, a fantasy-loving book nerd, recommend one of my favorite books to a friend who is also a fantasy-loving book nerd, that we don't always agree on if the book is good or not? How is it that book reviewers that I respect and admire can rate my favorite book 2 stars and me do the same to their favorite books? Why don't we all just agree on what makes a good book? And today, I will unravel at least some of the reasons behind all that. Because I have made a reader personality test called BOOKTONE. If you would like to take the test, it'll take you about 2 minutes and the link is in the description. I swear it's a fun quiz. So we are going to go through how the quiz works and how the answers are broken up, how your result can be useful to you in your everyday book choosing life, and at the very end, some statistics for nerds and how you can set up your own wonderful graphs. Are you ready? Let's go! So the premise of BOOKTONE is that any reader and any book can be categorized into one of the BOOKTONE types. And you are most likely to enjoy books that match your type. And each type works on 2 categories. The first is the drive of the book. Is the book driven by emotions or intellectualness? And yes, this is just a spectrum, and every single book and reader is going to be somewhere on that spectrum, but like all personality tests, we are embracing the lie that everything can be made into discrete categories. So it's either emotionally driven or intellectually driven, no in between. And on our BOOKTONE graph, intellectually driven types are near the center, and emotionally driven types are around the outside. If a book is intellectually driven, it's going to make you think. These are the kind of books that English teachers love to assign. These are the kind of books that have a lot of symbolism and themes and motifs. At their best, intellectually driven books are incredibly engaging and fascinating. At their worst, intellectually driven books will confuse you and force you to take notes. And then on the flip side, we have emotionally driven books. These are the ones that will make you feel. These are the books that will make you laugh and cry. These are the books that are most likely to go viral on TikTok. At their best, emotionally driven books are going to take you on the roller coaster of your life and be so fun and devastating at the same time. And at their worst, emotionally driven books are the ones where you have to tell people, oh, just read it, but you're gonna have to turn your brain off a little bit. Don't worry about it. So the intellectually driven types are in the center, the paler, lighter colors. And the emotionally driven types are on the outside in the darker, more saturated colors. But how do you know what color you are? And here's where we get the focus of the book. There are 3 focus types: atmosphere focus, the yellow, plot focus, the red, and character focus, blue. So if a book was equally atmosphere and plot focused, it would be equally yellow and red, aka orange. And if a book is equal parts atmosphere, character, and plot, it is gray, either on the outside or in the very middle. But what do these mean? Let us take Harry Potter as an example. I think Harry Potter is one of the perfect examples of a book that is right in the middle of all of these colors. And now, using Harry Potter as an example, I'm going to pitch it as if it is only atmosphere focused, only character focused, and only plot focused, so you can understand the differences between these categories. Let's start with yellow, atmosphere. Atmosphere encapsulates everything that is the general vibe of the book. This includes the setting, the writing style, the themes and philosophy of the book, etc. If it's a fantasy, this is also the mechanics of the magic. So this is the atmosphere of Harry Potter. These books are about a world with magic, where people are born a wizard or a witch. When they are 11, they are whisked off to Hogwarts, a magical boarding school with fun ghosts and parties, and goblins and werewolves and dementors out to get you. These books are so full of that childish whimsy you're searching for. They spend a lot of their time on just the little moments throughout the school year, and despite their easily digestible prose, have a lot of wonderfully quotable moments. And you will die over the game Quidditch. And that is Harry Potter from an atmosphere lens. Now, let me pitch Harry Potter to you through a character lens. A character-focused book focuses on the character arcs and relationships. Harry Potter is a lonely little orphan boy. He dreams of having any love and respect in his life as he is abused by his aunt and uncle and cousin. But then one day he gets whisked away by a strange visitor and learns that he's the chosen one. He gets to go make friends as he's slowly coming to terms with this new identity, wrestling with what it means to be a hero and if it's truly his duty to do it. And that is Harry Potter with a character focus. Now, Harry Potter with a plot focus. There was once this really evil wizard named Voldemort. So scary that people don't even say his name. But then when he went to murder a little baby named Harry Potter, he died, disappeared, no one really knows. But now, throughout the series, he's slowly clawing his way back to life because he left all of these parts of his soul behind called Horcruxes, where he can pretty much live infinitely as long as these are around. So Harry Potter, our chosen one, and his band of friends have to go hunt these down and destroy them in order to defeat the Dark Lord. And that is Harry Potter with a plot focus. But of course, the actual Harry Potter is a mix of all of these. And I do think that this is at least part of the explanation of why Harry Potter is so popular. Because no matter what your book tone type is, there's something in Harry Potter for you to love. So what are the book tone types? I'm going to list them, and here is going to be a popular book that I think fits into the type New York pink, xanthous-orange, chiffon-yellow, celadon-green, uranium-blue, thistle-purple, gainsboro-gray, vermillion-red, international orange, unmellow-yellow, jade-green, resolution-blue, byzantium-purple, and anchor-gray. Please take the test and comment below what your type is. I am thistle-purple. There are no wrong answers. Whatever you pick, you are going to get an awesome color. So now, what can you use these types for? First, I would like to say that these types are independent of genre. That any book from any genre can belong to any of these types, even if it's the most literary fiction or the most fart jokes middle grade. Any fiction book belongs somewhere on this chart. Now, there are some genres that do congregate closer to one side of the chart than others. For example, mysteries tend to be more around New York pink because they're intellectual plot-driven beasts. But you could also have a mystery novel on the opposite end of the chart. It's just a little bit more rare to see it over there. As a counterpoint, romances tend to be resolution blue because it's about the emotions of the characters. And here is one of the most useful parts of this chart, is that the colors can mix. For example, my sister is a New York pink. Her husband is a chiffon yellow. So they don't always like the same books. When they're reading each other's favorite books, it doesn't always work out. But if they need a book to read together that they're both going to like, then their best bet would be picking something like a book from Xanthous Orange, because it's right in the middle of their two tastes. And if you're trying to pick a book for a big book club, then probably your best bet is one of the grays, because there's a little bit there for everyone. So now, how do you determine the book tone of a book? Here are some questions to ask yourself and steps to follow. Now first, you can't just take the test as a book. And instead of answering the questions with your preferences, answer the questions with what best matches the book you have in mind. But if you're doing it by yourself, here's how to do that. First, determine if the book is emotionally or intellectually driven. The big question for this is, does the average person enjoy the book more with their heart or their head? And if you can't quite decide, here's some finer points to consider. Emotional books you love with your heart. It makes you laugh and cry. They're passionate books. These are the kind of books that elicit big fan reactions. They could easily go viral on TikTok, a medium where emotions are forefront. An intellectual book is a book you love with your brain. It makes you think. It's fascinating. It's books that tend to elicit the English teacher analysis reaction of people, and are the kind of books where people would call them potential classics of the genre. Then you determine the color. Is it atmosphere, character, plot-focused, or a mix of those? The big question here is, when the average person is summarizing the book, what do they focus on? And here are some finer points for that. An atmosphere-focused book has a detailed setting or inciting situation, beautiful prose or strong vibes, and developed themes and ideas. A character-focused book has strong character arcs, relationship development, which could be a romance or could just be friendship or even a nemesis-ship. And it emphasizes the psychology of the characters, what makes them tick. And a plot-focused book has high stakes with external forces actively causing conflicts in the narrative. There is a focused task to be accomplished, like a mystery to solve or a bad guy to defeat. And it's fast-paced with lots of events and things changing. Now, of course, 99.9% of books have an atmosphere, characters, and a plot. But we're asking where the focus is. A good rule of thumb is if a book has 2 of these bullet points, it can count for that category. So let's walk through an example book. Hunger Games. Does the average person love this book more with their heart or their head? And I would say this is more of an emotional book. It's certainly a series that can make you cry, but I don't know how much I thought while reading these. Not to say that there isn't nuance and fascinating things in this book where, no, we are rejecting nuance and pretending like things can be made into discrete categories for this video. Ow, I did not mean to fake slap myself so hard. So it's an emotional book. We will be picking from the colors on the outside of the ring that are highly saturated. Next, atmosphere, character, or plot focus. Let's take this one by one. Atmosphere. Does it have a detailed setting and inciting situation? I would say yes. We can understand the capital versus the district, how terrible District 12 is, etc. Then, beautiful prose or strong vibes? No. Developed themes and ideas? No. And so this book is not atmosphere focused. Character. Strong character arcs? Nope. Katniss does change over the course of the series, but I don't think the character arc is ever the focus. Relationship development. I mean, there are relationship developments, but also kind of feel like she fell into the love triangle accidentally. So no. Emphasizing psychology, what makes them tick? I would also say no. And so this book is not character focused. Plot. High stake. External forces. Yes. The Hunger Games is very high stakes. It's life and death. The external force of the capital is a mover and shaker in this book. A focused task to be accomplished? Yes. It's very easy to determine that Katniss's task is to win the Hunger Games, to survive. Fast paced. Lots of events and things changing? Yes. And so this book is plot focused. And only plot focused. So we are in the pure red zone with vermilion red. And that is how you would diagnose a novel with its book tone. When in doubt, just go with your gut. Some people are going to disagree how I categorize books. Some people are going to disagree how you categorize books. That's okay. And you have to acknowledge your bias because you are going to be more likely to focus on elements that you enjoy. If you love character arcs, even if there isn't a strong character arc in the book you're reading, you're still going to lean towards that character arc and you might think that it was more prominent than it actually was because it was such a big deal to you. So you have to attempt to acknowledge your own biases of what you focus on and try to think, what would the average person think about this book, not just me. So now we are going to jump into the statistics because I've gone through all the books I've read in the past 2 years and categorized them and made graphs out of them, and I would like to show them off to you. Also, in the footnotes, I will link a template Google Sheets, so if you want to make your own graphs, you can use that template. I'll have step-by-step instructions for using this template at the end of the video. So these are all the books I've read in the past 2 years. As you can see, it's a lot of purple and after that gray. Now I'm going to eliminate all of the sequels. Because, of course, if I like a book one, I'm going to go on and read the series, and series tend to all be the same color. So if it's a long series, it gives it a big bias in this chart, and I've read a lot of long purple series. So now that we've taken out all the sequels, the colors are a little bit more evenly matched. But now I'm going to filter it for only books I liked, aka books I rated 3, 4, or 5 stars. And if we take out the gray so we can see the colors more clearly, you can see a fairly obvious bias towards purple and away from yellow. Which I'm happy with because it confirms the result that the test gave me. And that is BookTone. Please share this around, make your own videos about it, talk to your friends about it, tag your books with it. Let's make this a movement because here's the power in this. The more people that are using BookTone, the more of a useful tool it will be. Imagine if you don't like reading blue books, if your anathema is resolution blue. Well, wouldn't it be useful if you could know if a book was like that before you even started the book? Or if you're giving recommendations of books to your friends, and if the friend could tell you, I love character books, my book tone is uranium blue, and then from that you can pick out books that are more character focused and intellectually driven for them. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have as much fun with BookTone as I have had. Subscribe for more videos on Frizzle Fridays. So now, how do you make your own beautiful pie charts? I have a few different Google Sheet templates linked in the description. There's one if you just want to enter books by hand, putting in the info by yourself, but there are also templates that are designed to interface with exports from Goodreads and Storygraph. So right now, I'm going to walk you through how to use the Goodreads template, and the same steps you follow for my Goodreads how-to, you're also just going to follow on Storygraph. First step of using the template, open it up, make a copy for your own Google Drive. Next, we've got to transition over to Goodreads. Then make a shelf tag with these exact names. If you don't get the names right, the coding on the Google Sheets will not auto-work for you, and you'll have to do some fiddling with it. But this is just the name of the colors. Is it intellectual or emotional, and which focuses it has in that category. Then, once you've tagged all the books you want to tag, go to My Books, Import and Export, Export Library. It will then pop up a link for you, which you can click and download a CSV file. For Storygraph, the way you export this is you go to Manage Account, then Export Storygraph Library. Then pop back over to your Google Sheets and go into the tab that is Goodreads. Once you're there, click File, then Import, then upload the file you just downloaded from Goodreads. Make sure to select Replace Current Sheet, then hit Import Data. And there you go, your pretty pie graphs are generated. If you want to sort your graphs by star rating, put that number in box C2, and that star number and lower will be removed. If you would like to sort the graph by a different tag, like I did with first books, you will need to make another Goodreads tag. For example, I tagged all of my first books with the tag first books. And then when I put that in cell C4, only books that have been tagged first books go onto the pie chart. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a happy time making graphs.